Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning Five here on Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. I am Dave Biddle flying solo on today's show. We're going to answer some questions from Bucknuts subscribers. I posted a thread to the front row message board last night, and we have some very good questions that I'm going to get to. Before we do that, let you know about Ridge Wallet again. This would make a great Father's Day gift. Father's Day is not this Sunday, it's next Sunday, June 15th. Make a great Father's Day gift, or you can get one for yourself. And we've got a good deal for you guys. I mean, I love Ridge Wallets, and I get again and make a perfect Father's Day gift. And you might want to get one for yourself. Ridge Wallets are ultra slim, sleek, and surprisingly spacious. Holds up to 12 cards plus cash. Your cash strap back here holds up to 12 cards. It's awesome. With over 50 colors and styles, Ridge Wallet isn't just functional; it's personal. Whether you want sleek black forged carbon fiber, which is what this is, a wallet that features your favorite NFL team, that'd be pretty cool, or one that just matches your vibe, they've got you covered. Right now, just in time for Father's Day, Ridge is having a huge sale. Get up to 40% off your order at ridge.com/bucknuts. Just head to ridge.com/bucknuts to find the perfect gift for dad or for yourself. When you check out, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Give Dad the upgrade he deserves this year. Ridge Wallet. Very cool. All right, let's get to some questions here. These are questions from Bucknut subscribers. First one, I'm just going to go in order as they were posted. This is from Kurt Kevin. This is new. This came out yesterday, of course. What's up with the premium South end zone seating? Pushing the students farther back? Only $6,000 deposits? Unbelievable. Kurt Kevin, not a big fan of this. Well, a couple things here. This is Ross Bjork's job. He's got to try and make money. But he also wants the stadium experience to be good. This is, I think, a way of getting both. That's they're taking a page out of what some NFL teams do. Like if you see like Jerry World, some other ones. We were down there in Atlanta for the national championship game, Mercedes-Benz. They have those on-field premium seating, but it's like you can't see the game well from there. That's for people that want to be seen and see and be seen. You're not going to really see the game well. You're going to have to watch the game, watch the scoreboard, which you might do anyway when you're at Jerry World. Actually, the scoreboard at Mercedes-Benz is huge too. Or you have to watch like on a TV you have in the suite. They also have the seat backs on top of the suites, which is separate, but is also premium seating. Here's the thing about moving the students back. The students will be a little further back, but like they're moving the band, so it kind of cancels it out. So, and I like moving the band. Like when I went to Ohio State, like the band was like, first of all, student seating was a little bit, I don't know, it was more because we were in ADEC. Well, one year we were like me and these were student seats because I was with my roommates. We were behind the band in ADEC near the closed end of the stadium. And I've always said I thought it was louder. Not just when I sat behind the band, obviously then it was louder. But even if I was sitting somewhere else in the stadium, I always thought the band was louder in the north, and it just makes sense. I mean, it's the closed end of the stadium. Just the acoustics there. I think I like it because it's a throwback to like growing up. And then when I went to Ohio State, I can't remember when they switched and moved the band to the south stands. I think it was probably when they renovated the stadium. So I kind of like it, actually. I definitely like the band being in the north end. Students, and the students really get rowdy, like the middle part of they have the Block O. Do they still have the Block O in the north end? I can't remember. They used to just have the Block O was like north end. They definitely have south stands now. I can't remember if they do both. I think they do both. But most of the students are like, not most of them, but like they're the ones that get really rowdy are kind of like a little further up anyway. I don't think it's going to really change much. The students are going to still get after it. We need everybody else to get after it. I don't have a problem with the premium seating because I think it's just something that Ross is trying to simultaneously make extra money for things like NIL and stadium renovations while making the stadium experience good for fans. And that's a hard, balance to walk. But I'm actually a fan of this development. I like the renderings I saw. So we'll see. We'll see when it actually, comes out. But this is for people that just have money to burn and aren't necessarily huge Ohio State fans, but like Ohio State and want to be there. And because again, I compare it to like those NFL stadiums, like you can't see the game well from down there. So or really much at all. You'll be able to see like touchdowns in the south end zone. That's about it. That is about it. All right, next up, Slim Kid. Longtime Bucknut subscriber. A lot of these guys are longtime Bucknut subscribers. Slim Kid says, Dave, what is your assessment of Tyler Bowen so far? Secondly, with Matt Patricia and James Laurinaitis, do you think our defense can play even better than last year in the back seven? We'll go with Bowen first. Yeah, I like him, but I think he's doing a good job recruiting. He needs to. I don't think he's necessarily doing a great job, but I like the way he approaches recruiting. I like what recruits are saying about him, and I like that he casts a wider net. He just seems to be. Seems to enjoy recruiting. He says he does when we met with him, and he walks the walk. It seems like that being so. I think we're going to look like for sure. I think he's going to be a good recruiter here. As a coach, I am optimistic. I like the fact that he's coming here as O-line coach, but has experience calling plays at a Power 4 school. You can say he didn't do a great job at Virginia Tech, but I have to go back and look. I don't think they had a ton of talent on offense. So I don't know how much he had to work with there. But regardless, he's not coming here as offensive coordinator. He's coming here as O-line coach. And he's got 3 lieutenants under him that are just helping him with the O-line, which we'll get to in a moment because I know we have a question about that as well. So I like it. But the proof's going to be in the pudding. Justin Fry ended up being a really good offensive line coach. Was he a good recruiter? Not really. He didn't like recruiting, but some of the guys he got that were lower rated are panning out. Like I did a story yesterday on Gabe Van Sickle. They like him. Obviously a guy that Tyler Bowen is inheriting. He's inheriting all these guys. None of these are his guys. So yeah, I like it, but let's see, because I don't know how well he's going to do. And I like the personnel in this offensive line a lot. I like this offensive line. I even like the depth. Whoever loses that battle between Tegra Shabola and Phillip Daniels, in my opinion, even though they don't play the same position, I think Tegra will start at right guard. Saraveld, to me, is almost a lock to start at right tackle, unless Tegra doesn't have a good camp and they want to put Daniels at right tackle and put Saraveld at right guard. But Saraveld is definitely going to start. And I think Tegra is going to start at right guard. So that puts Phillip Daniels, brings good depth. Ian Moore, a redshirt freshman, that's good depth. Gabe Van Sickle, a redshirt freshman, they like him. He'll be on the 2 deep at guard. And then Josh Padilla, third-year sophomore at center. So that's 4 guys right there that can, that's pretty good depth. So I like the starters. I like the depth. We'll see what Tyler Bowen can do with it. All right, the second question with Matt Patricia. And Little Animal, do I think our defense can play better than last year in the back seven? Perhaps I will settle. I will bask for just as good, because they were BIA, not in name only last year. They were definitely best in America. I think Sonny will be better, but you lose Cody Simon. But I really, 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 really like Peyton Pierce. Sorry, you can see we have some maintenance going on here at the house. Sorry about that. So Sonny will be better. I really like Arvell Reese. I really like Peyton Pierce. But Cody Simon was great last year, so I hesitate to say they'll be better. I would need to see that first, and then you're including the back seven. So Lathan Ransom, so Caleb Downs and Lathan Ransom were the best safety tandem in the country last year. It was the best secondary in the country last year as well, in my opinion. You lose Lathan Ransom. I like Jalen McClain. I like Malik Hartford. I think Fahim Delane's going to be a stud down the line, but we're talking about this year losing Lathan Ransom. And Lathan was always a good player at Ohio State, but he wasn't fifth-year senior Lathan Ransom until he was fifth-year senior Lathan Ransom. He was just crushing guys in the playoff. Never once did he have a targeting penalty, just was laying guys out. And then you have Caleb Downs. It was just almost a cheat code. So can Jalen McClain be as good or better than Lathan Ransom eventually? Maybe. Yeah. Because I like what I see out of Jalen McClain. Will he be that as a sophomore this coming year? I don't think he'll be as good as I think it'd be unfair to Lathan to say he's going to be as good as Lathan was as a fifth-year senior, as a second-year, first-year starter. So that's one. Then Jordan Hancock, he was really, really good. We're losing him, and you're replacing him with Lorenzo Styles Jr. Bryce West can play there. There's somebody you can move Jermaine Matthews inside, and I love the depth at corner, man. Getting IGB back. You lose Denzel Burke, but you have 2 of the 3 corners, the outside corners that they used in the playoff. They did like a 3-man rotation, as we know, with IGB, Burke, and Jermaine Matthews. 2 of those 3 are back. You have Devin Sanchez, Aaron Scott, 5-star guys. And typically I wouldn't say rely on a freshman, but Devin Sanchez is not your typical freshman. He came in with the high accolades, and then he showed how just mature he was and physically ready he was, and looked the part on the field, everything. So I think at the very least he's going to add quality depth as a true freshman. And if they want to move a Jermaine Matthews inside or somebody gets banged up, Devin Sanchez can get the job done as a rotational corner like Jermaine Matthews last year, or even a starter, I believe, as a true freshman. Same thing for Aaron Scott. I love the depth there at corner. So they're still going to be really good. I still think they're going to be BIA in the back seven. I hesitate to say they'll be better, but I think they'll be as good. But I do like, especially with James Laurinaitis now settling in, like he did such a good job. I think that's a big reason that Cody Simon had the year he did. So, and they have more depth now at linebacker with Peyton Pierce now. Arvell Reese a year older after playing a decent amount last year. Again, Sonny Styles now in his second year playing linebacker. So I like what they have. I like what they have going on there. How deep are we into the show? About 11 minutes. Let me get to one more before I do another ad read here. We had plenty of questions though. I like this because I'm guilty of this too. This is a really good one right here. Papa Joe's 92. A little shout out to the old bar on High Street. They tore down all of our bars that we used to love, right? All of them I think are gone except for maybe In-N-Out. And I say In-N-Out, out or in. God, I got burgers on my mind early in the morning. Hamburgers, cornerstone of every tasty breakfast. How did Samuel L. Jackson not win an Oscar for his role in Pulp Fiction? He wasn't even nominated. That was as good of an acting job as I've ever seen. Nailed that role. In-N-Out burger. Now that's going to be on my mind. I think maybe seriously though, Out or In might be the only bar left that we used to go to back in the day on High Street. Steve Hellwagon's favorite, the Beer Stube, was the latest to close. All right, Papa Joe's 92. Again, I'm guilty of this too. He goes, what is up with Damarion Witten? He was highly touted. First he was a tight end, then he's sticking at wide receiver. Literally zero talk of him by any Buckeye site since his arrival. I'm not quite guilty of that. We've talked about him since his arrival. It's been a while since I've talked about Damarion Witten. Guilty as charged. He says, and then he goes on to say, Papa Joe says, I know the room is stacked, but I hear talk of freshman wide receivers like Quincy Porter getting playing time and as a goal line jump ball weapon. Why can't Witten carve out a role as that given his size? It's a great question. Guilty as charged as far as not talking enough about Damarion Witten, because he looks like a wide receiver version of Jelani Thurman when he's out there. I mean, those guys, he's listed at 6'5". He's every bit of 6'5". If they list him at 6'6", I wouldn't question it. He's listed at 6'5", and they're pretty accurate with their height weights. I don't have a great answer for you, Papa Joe's. I do like your username, and I'm applauding your question. I will say this, when camp opens, I'll keep a closer eye on Witten. You're right. He's from a pipeline. He's got great size. People that I know well that love Ohio high school football, that cover it, told me that, like, hey, like Damarion Witten's a guy to watch. Like, he looked really, really good at Glenville. So, good question. I don't know. I mean, maybe he will carve out a role. Yeah, but like you said, like, they're so good at wide receiver. It's like, even to talk about Quincy Porter, I don't think he's going to play much. I think eventually he's going to be a stud here. But you got J.J. Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis. Mylan Graham would probably be the next one in, although Bryson Rogers is in the mix. You know, you got dudes in the mix. You got Quincy Porter in the mix. Hopefully Damarion Witten's in the mix. There's a lot of guys in the mix there. So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough for him to see a lot of playing time this year. I just hope he's patient. He's one of those guys where if he's patient, I think he can be a stud down the line for them. All right, let's get to another word from our sponsors. Oh yeah, yes, got Brunt boots. Look at these things. Brunt boots. Bam. Brunt has designed the best work boots on this here planet. It's another good Father's Day gift. I'm not exaggerating. They have designed boots that withstand the toughest job sites while feeling as comfortable as your favorite sneakers. They also look great. So even for podcasters like me, I can throw them on with a pair of jeans and people are like, whoa, where'd you get those boots? These are the most comfortable work boots you will ever have, but they also deliver real performance on the job. Brunt is so confident these boots will blow you away. They even let you try it on the job risk-free. Brunt also has plenty of other gear for tough jobs, such as weather-resistant jackets, pants, and more. All right, here we go. This is where you guys got to really pay attention. Brunt didn't just make a durable work boot. They reinvented comfort for the hardest workers out there. For Father's Day, not only does Brunt have a special discount, but our listeners are also getting an additional $10 off by using code Bucknuts at checkout. Pretty good. So they have their Father's Day deals, and you're going to get an extra $10 off by using code Bucknuts at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com, use code Bucknuts, and you're all set. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. I also had a question I know in the chat last time. Do they have steel-toed boots? You bet they do. These are the soft-toed, and they're still, they might as well be. Jeez. That's the most sturdy, soft thing I've ever seen in my life. Look at these things, and they're comfortable inside. The Brunt Cushion, Cushin, Cushion. The Brunt Cushion, trademark. Boom, they feel like sneakers when you wear them. All right, let's get back to questions. Questions. Answer the question. All right. We alluded to this earlier. This comes from Woody Hayes. Yes, Woody Hayes. That's right. His username is Woody Hayes. All right, Woody, I love when you ask me questions about Ohio State, my man. All right, Woody Hayes says, Dave, what is the feeling inside the offensive line room and with recruits with having 4 O-line coaches? Well, really, Tyler Bowen is the only O-line coach. The other guys are analysts. They can recruit because I think there's no more rules about anything really in college football. I say that only was half joking. Although the Committee on Infractions hearing begins Friday, Popcorn City, Popcorn Festival. So hopefully there's still rules about cheating. I think, and I'm not joking. There definitely are rules. That's one thing the NCAA is going to take seriously. And that's one thing the NCAA still, there's nothing that's changed on that front. People say the NCAA doesn't have teeth any longer. Well, they might not when it comes to like player compensation. They'll get laughed out of court, and they've learned this the hard way. But stuff like breaking rules, their own rules, they still have, nothing's changed in that regard. And Michigan, I think, is going to find that out the hard way. I don't think they're going to lose their national championship, but they could. I think they should. I'm just saying what will happen. I don't think they'll lose their title, but I think they're going to lose some wins. I think something good, something's going to happen here. So I like I don't know. I mean, I think with recruits, I think it's probably a wash. I don't think maybe it helps if anything, because it lets Tyler Bowen maybe focus on that a little more right now. Although he's got, I mean, the number one thing, recruiting is so important, but give me what Justin Fry did. I mean, that's the most important thing is winning on the field. I mean, obviously recruiting is very important, but coaching your guys up, I think, is even more important. I mean, you can get a big time recruit. You got to get your big time. It's almost like, again, that's almost like a wash too. I could almost make an argument either way. Like, what's more important, like coaching up your guys, getting a Jimmy Simmons, as they call him, when nobody thought he was going to be a first-round pick, turning him into a first-round pick, despite the fact he blew out his knee. If he would have been a top 10 pick, if he didn't blow out his knee, Justin Fry really coached him up. Then they lose Seth McLaughlin. No one expected him to come here and win the Remington Award. He does, despite only playing 10 games. Those guys both go out for the season. Oh, everything, dire straits. Justin Fry coaches his guys up. A lot of those guys were 3 stars. A lot of those guys were not big-time recruit. Well, Donovan Jackson was. Luke Montgomery kind of was. He wasn't a 5-star like Donovan, but like Saraveld wasn't. Some of those guys were not big-time recruits. Again, Josh Simmons wasn't, although he wasn't playing at that point. Hinsman kind of was. Hinsman was a 4-star. Shabola, okay, so I guess it was mostly 4 stars. Shabola was a 4-star. So a lot of those guys weren't like highly rated, though. You wouldn't say there weren't any other than Donovan was a 5-star. There were no Paris Johnson Juniors on that team that were like number 1 offensive lineman in the country. So, coaching your guys up is so important. So I like it. I like that they have the 3 analysts. One of the analysts has been like an O-line coach for like 20 years. He was the O-line coach at Oklahoma State for the last several years, Charlie Dickey. Then you have Marcus Johnson, who not only was a second-round NFL draft pick and played in the NFL for a while as an offensive lineman, has good experience already, even being a young guy. He was the offensive line coach at Purdue last couple of years. He was the O-line coach at Missouri before that. Not assistant O-line coach, not analyst. He was their O-line coach. He's coming here as an analyst. Then they have one more who's following, who started as a grad assistant at Virginia Tech under Bowen, who's coming here also as an analyst. And he already has worked with Coach Bowen. So I like that. You have 3 analysts just working with the offensive line. So 4 O-line coaches. I like it. All right. Fox R 2001, or as I call him, the prof. He's a college professor. I don't know if he wants me to say where at, but he probably doesn't care. But I'll just leave it that he's a college professor. Computer science, no less. All right. Fox R 2001. He said, Dave, you said that you want Ohio State to play hardball for the next media contract and demand either more money or some control over noon versus 3:30 versus night games. And looking at the Big Ten, if you had a free hand in writing that next contract, how would you break the money up? Let's assume money would be awarded in tiers. Which teams are you putting in each tier? Ooh, I should have written this out before the show. So, all right, let's just go. Tier 1 would be Ohio State. I'm not even saying like these other schools would even deserve as much as Ohio State, but let's say I'll just answer the question. And let's say we split them up into tiers, where tier 1 obviously gets the most money. And whatever tier 4 is, whatever the lowest is, I'll just say I wouldn't even want the disparity to be that much. I just think Ohio State deserves more of a piece of the pie, a larger piece of the pie. If Clemson and Florida State get a larger piece of the pie in the ACC, why wouldn't Ohio State get a larger piece of the pie in the Big Ten? Nothing else makes sense. My biggest thing, though, now it'd be nice to make. I think Ohio State has enough money. It'd be nice, if they had more because they are the cash cow of the Big Ten. Big Ten, really, Fox is taking advantage of them, which leads to my next point. The biggest thing I would have is a stipulation in there that you can only play X amount of games at noon per year, and you could say, however you define big game, you'd have to write that in the contract. You would have to define big game, or you could just say period, only X amount of games at noon every year. That way, Ohio State's not stuck every one of their big games playing it at noon. All right, tiers. So you'd have, let's say there's 4 teams in tier 1. So you go Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon. That'd be tier 1. I know I'm gonna forget teams. So I shouldn't be doing this off the top of my head. Tier 2, maybe just go 3 tiers. Maybe tier 2 would be a little bigger. Tier 2 would include schools like, USC might be. Well, now I think right now USC, you got to put them in tier 2. They might be the best of the tier 2, but they just haven't been relevant really since Pete Carroll left. So I'd go USC. You almost can make an argument for tier 1 for them. USC, Washington. I'd toss like a Wisconsin in there. I'd make Michigan State, Iowa, UCLA. No, I'll probably put them maybe the bottom because they are the other LA team. Maybe I'd throw UCLA in there. That I could take or leave that one though. Maybe Illinois in there as well. All right, and then I know I'm leaving somebody out. Maybe Minnesota would be in tier 2 or tier 3. For sure, tier 3s would be like Rutgers, Purdue. Maryland could go either way. They might be more of a tier 2 or tier 3. I can't, I'm trying to think who I'm leaving out here, but that's an interesting question. But certainly tier 1, if you're limiting it to 4 teams, would be Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, with USC knocking on the door. USC is a good coach away. I thought Lincoln Riley might be that coach. I think a lot of people thought that, but not so much. All right, a couple more questions to get to before we do that. Just to let you know about Gooder and a great deal you guys can get. Gooder, they're stylish sunglasses starting at just $25 a pair. You get a 1-year warranty, 30-day free returns. You won't need any of that, but it's good it's there. They're lightweight and comfortable, 100% polarized, no slip, no bounce. They have vibrant colors, sleek styles. They're a pair of Gooders for every personality. They're designed for both everyday wear and active individuals that love to run, hike, bike, and more. I play tennis in them. They don't move. I love it. They look good. And, if you're able to play tennis with your sunglasses never falling off, pretty rare, but happens every time with pretty rare overall with sunglasses, not with Gooder. Every time I wear them, they don't never fall off. If you need a new pair of sunglasses, Gooder is giving Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/Bucknuts, use code Bucknuts for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's gooder.com/Bucknuts, use code Bucknuts for free shipping. There we be. All right, a couple more. We'll close up shop here. Again, I apologize for the construction going on at my house right now. All right. A couple more here. We even have Steve Hellwagon's going to ask a question here, I see. That's good. Steve asking a question. Hello, I just posted it on the front row message board. If you guys are not Bucknut subscribers, we got a great deal right now. You guys know about this, right? 60% off. It's already not very expensive. Our usual price is $9.99 a month. All right, you can get 60% off right now, and that gives you all of our premium stories. You can go on to other boards and read their boards, premium boards on every other site in the 24/7 Sports Network, which is really cool, especially after what is going to happen with Michigan. It'll be fun if you like to get on there and read what they're saying after they realize that this is not going to be a slap on the wrist. Or you can get on the Michigan State board, which is an awesome board. Right, the Red Cedar message board, those guys are hilarious. And the enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing. So 60% off. And then you get to be on the front row message board, the most vibrant of all of the Ohio State message boards. It's crazy how vibrant our message board is. It's just, and anyway, so take advantage of our 60% off deal. You can get on Bucknuts. It's right there. It's right there on the front page, 60% off. Bam. Again, it's already pretty cheap in my opinion. And now you're getting 60% off. Take advantage. That will not last long. And you can do things like get on the front row message board. And when I post, hey, give me questions for tomorrow's show, you can give me questions for tomorrow's show. Speaking of which, Northwest Ohio Buck 2009. NW Ohio Buck 2009. Does CJ Hicks have 1 or 2 years of eligibility remaining? 2 is ideal for him to reach his full potential as an edge. It would also maybe change the way I view success for him this year. Well, unfortunately, he only has 1 year left. He never redshirted. I look back just to make sure because they listed him as a senior with 1 year of eligibility left. They do have seniors, they're really fourth-year juniors that they list seniors with 2 years of eligibility left. He's not a fourth-year junior. I went back and looked. He played too many games as a true freshman. He's mostly played on special teams, little bit in mop-up duty. He's had some like meaningful reps, but mostly it's been special team. Not special teams is meaningful, but on defense, most of his reps have been mop-up. He's had some that were not, but most have been. But he's never redshirted, so this is his final go. So, hey, I think just carve out a role for him. He doesn't need to be a guy that plays. If he does end up being a guy that plays 30 snaps a game, great. He doesn't need to be a guy that plays 30 snaps a game. He needs to be a guy that goes in there and plays 10 to 15 snaps a game and wreaks havoc, gives the guy a rest. And I think Matt Patricia is going to roll those guys through. They've got a lot of guys that they can put. Let's say they do a lot of odd fronts, which I think they will. I've talked about that. On last Wednesday's show a lot. I think they're going to do a lot of odd fronts. And that means guys like CJ Hicks can come in there and rush off the edge. You can have Sonny Styles rush off the edge. You can have Arvell Reese rush off the edge and play inside. Peyton Pierce is mostly just going to play inside. You could have Kenyatta Jackson either put a hand in the dirt or stand up and rush off the edge. Caden Curry, Bo Atkinson, Logan George, and CJ Hicks. All those guys. Zion Grady. And then some of those interior guys, Caden McDonald would be the one tech. You have Edric Houston. You can have Will Smith in there. Bo Atkinson can play a little 5-tech D tackle or defensive end in a 3-4. So they definitely have options there. But to answer your question, 1 year left for CJ, my guy from the Dayton area. Okay. He went to high school at Kettering Alter. Steve Hellwagon asked me a question that I can't even believe is being asked. I thought the Reds would be certainly over 500 by now. They are on a 1-game winning streak. They won last night. Maybe they can win today and make it 2. They have an afternoon game against the Brewers. I thought the Reds wouldn't necessarily be a playoff team this year, but I thought they'd contend for a playoff bid, and I thought they would definitely be over 500. Hopefully they stay over 5. Hopefully they get over 500 and stay there. All right, so Steve says, should the Reds buy or sell? I hate seeing that this early. He said, one guy said sell off Lodolo, and I wanted to die. Yeah, I am not, especially a guy like Lodolo. He's under team control for 3 years after this one. Like, just, especially if Tito wasn't here, I'd say maybe they would look into selling. Maybe a Nick. And if they did sell, I think it would be like a Nick Martinez because $21 million, unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, pitching pretty well after a slow start. I was thinking, geez, they spent $21 million on this guy. Then since then, he's been pretty good. Last start wasn't very good, but first 3 starts not good. Then he had ran off like a bunch of really good starts, and this last one wasn't great. But overall, Nick Martinez has been good. His ERA is in the 3s somewhere. So if they look to trade anybody, it would be him, in my opinion. If you're a contender and you need somebody to eat innings for you, not that he's going deep in games, but he's proven himself to be a consistent back of the rotation starter. That would be very valuable at the trade deadline. Pitching will be valuable. And then you could bring up a Chase Burns, their number 1 prospect, the number 2 pick of last year's draft, who's absolutely ready to come up. You guys didn't think we'd be getting Reds talk on the show today. This is the last thing. No, I don't think they'll sell. If they go on a big losing streak, they would. And maybe they'd sell a little bit. It'd be Nick Martinez. I hope they buy or hold steady. They need another bat. Austin Hayes cannot stay healthy. Even with Austin Hayes, I thought they needed another outfielder. With Austin Hayes not being able to stay healthy, they really need 2 outfielders. I'm sick of seeing things like Will Benson out there. Though Will Benson hit a home run yesterday, so maybe I shouldn't use him. But Connor Joe, Garrett Hampson, I'm just sick of seeing those guys out there. Jake Fraley. They just have too many guys that at the very best should be the 5th outfielder that are almost like consistent starters, or at least at the very least platoon starters right now that should either be in AAA or should be like your 5th outfielder, not a starting outfielder. So they need to get an outfielder, and they need to get Austin Hayes to somehow stay healthy for more than 3 games at a time. All right. Thank you to all the questions from our Bucknut subscribers. Thank you to everybody watching the show, listening to the show. I appreciate that very much. Dan Rubin and the boys will be with you tomorrow. Thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Go Bucks. Still basking.